It's okay. How are you? I can't hear you. Your microphone. There we go. There we go.
Sorry, I'm late. You know what's funny? It's like, how can you be late from your own home?
I love it.
I was doing my albums and I was blissfully sat here away signing, and then I was like, anyway, I'm so sorry. But how are you?
Hey, and I guess the kids are back in school, so you can't even blame them.
No, I can't. But you know what it is? I now cram in so much to when they're not here. I think I'm like Wonder Woman and can get all this stuff down. Really, I get distracted. Anyway, but I'm here.
How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. It's been quite an eventful weekend, actually, just because it's been so busy with work, which is so delightful after such a crazy time. It's so nice to have had to almost feel back to normal in a way, to be busy. It's been great.
I mean, so I've got to start, like, normally with That Stage of Blog interviews, I go away and do a little bit of research, but with you, I don't feel like I even needed to. There's so much, like, I want to talk about with you and the chance to finally get to chat to you. And I want to say a huge, big thank you because, obviously, I've started That Stage of Blog about 2 years ago, and it's been a struggle sometimes. And even, like, throughout lockdown, running a theatre blog when there's no theatre has been a challenge.
Yeah, I bet.
And there were moments where I kind of wanted to throw the towel in. Yeah. And then more recently, being invited to, as a guest, to come and watch your show, and then being invited to interview you, I kind of remember how lucky and honoured I am to do this, and
you know
how
what?
privileged it is.
I think lockdown has done that for people. I think it's made people. Well, I say that. I think it's obviously been tricky for lots of people for many reasons, but for me, it's made me so appreciative of our job, and I am always grateful for it. But I think I'm grateful in slightly different ways. Sometimes I'm usually grateful when you're doing a big job, or you get a standing ovation, or you do something massive like that. But actually, after lockdown, to actually be just in front of an audience and be doing a gig and be with other musicians and have that kind of experience in a room, that's what I've been grateful for. And it's kind of like sent me back to basics almost. And also, I think people have been really starved of live entertainment, and usually being back at Proud has been the messages I've got from people, or talking to people after the show, how people are like, I just needed to get out and I needed to see something, and it wasn't enough to just go for a drink or go for dinner. That was a blessing in the beginning, but now people need that escapism. They need a reason. They need a reason to go out and to focus on something. And I think that's what Proud does, which is great.
And it is brilliant. Like I say, so I was lucky enough to be there on Friday to see the show. So this is Cabaret All Stars.
It is, yeah.
A company, so Denise Van Outen has Saturday nights and you're doing Friday nights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it looks like you're having a ball. And like I say, you're teamed up. So Ian Stroughair, Miss Velma Celli, who you worked with back in Rent in concert.
Yeah, I love
Ian before then.
We've got a lot of mutual friends, and we've done various concerts and bits and pieces together. But Rent was probably the first time we worked together. We've worked together since, doing various concerts, and I've been to perform at his shows and vice versa. We did some bits at the Hippodrome together. But he's amazing, and I think what he does as Velma he's one of the best. It's also rare that a lot of drag artists don't sing like him. He sings like a dream, and I think he has a real unique quality to engage in an audience and to entertain an audience. He's kind of born to perform. You use that phrase lightly, but Velma is, it's just, it blows me away, really.
I'm gonna marry the night. I'm not gonna cry anymore. I'm gonna marry the night. Leave nothing on these trees with more. Mama, marry the mama, marry the night. Mama, marry the mama, marry mama. found your way to the holy grail of Cabaret here in London town. Are you excited? I'm gonna marry the night. I am here to be your chanteurs, your compere, your host, and you, sir, are my bitch. Got one of those faces, you know. Now, my darlings, tonight we have some of the best variety burlesque circus cabaret acts in London. Turn the corner
And it's a humour as well, like the acid tongue, how quick, especially when you've got a live audience.
Yeah, in that environment, it's kind of what scares me the most. You know, I find that the singing is fine. The singing is what I do. I'm used to that. I'm with patter in my own gigs and talking to a crowd when it's me talking about my songs and my show, and that's easy for me. But suddenly being in an environment where I'm comparing really in a sense, and I'm talking about artists that I haven't worked with before. I didn't know them before Proud, which is I find tough because you don't want to give them the wrong intro, you don't want to get anything wrong, you want to make sure you know their credits, you know, so that's been interesting. But what I have loved about it is it has been a bit of a challenge, and I'm overly joyed to be back on stage and to be at Proud, and the venue's fantastic, the producers are great, you know, it's a really nice setup, but also it's been a challenge for me to suddenly step into this compare role, you know, which has been great fun to get over, you know, and go, oh, okay, that's another thing I can do. Okay, that's great. I've learned something, and I like that.
And it does feel, because I went over to Paris to the Moulin Rouge, and it does feel like a kind of London's own little Moulin Rouge. You've got a huge stage in the middle, and then all the seating's around everywhere.
Yeah, it definitely feels like something unique. I mean, I know that the show, or a form of show, was going on at Proud before lockdown and has been going. Alex has done an incredible job of creating something that's very unique and very different, and especially at the moment where there's not much else going on, and he's bringing people together that would probably never normally be together, you know, for a show, because some of the guys over from Vegas are so huge, you know, they have their own shows over in Vegas, and obviously Vegas is shut down right now, so they can be here. And then obviously Denise and myself and Velma, you know, all these people that have come together to do this show that I think is a brilliant night of entertainment. And I think that's what we have to kind of go back to sometimes, is that people want to go out, they want to be wowed, they want to have fun, they want to interact, they want to be entertained, and they get Proud. You get to do all of that and have a nice dinner.
And feel safe, because from the moment you walk in, your temperature checked, your track and trace, and you're all seated separately, and the waiting staff is so good, it's so efficient.
Well, I think with Proud, it's ticking all the boxes. They're getting everything right. They can function probably more so than a theatre can, because it is a restaurant as such. You can have the space, you can have, because it's got the 2 levels as well, so people do feel safe. They're doing everything that they should be doing, but it still feels like there's atmosphere in there. It still feels quite busy because of how it's set out and people are sat down. I think the sad thing about the theatres is they can't work like that. They can't work at a small capacity like that, which I think is a real shame.
And I wanted to ask, because I noticed your lovely husband was there watching the show as well.
He was.
How special is that, to just have a babysitter for the kids and then bring your husband to work?
Yeah, I mean, so many great things. Yes, it was a night out for him, and we don't get out much at the moment. I mean, who does?
No, exactly.
And I said to him, you know, you need to come sooner rather than later, because things change by the day at the moment. Yeah. Lockdowns or you know, if people track and trace, you know, things can change. You could get you could get taken out of something so quickly. So I said, so come sooner rather than later, because we don't know what's going to happen. And it was really nice, and he loved it. He doesn't always come and see everything I'm in, because otherwise he'd be with me all the time. But he does support, you know, he does support. And I said to him, I think you'll really enjoy this. And he did. And he's quite a good critic, you know, because he knows me very well. And he's also seen me do a lot. And he just said it was a really good night out. I really enjoyed myself, and it kind of gave us everything we wanted. So yeah, it was nice to have him there.
And I wonder, because I can't even remember which was the last show you did where it was like 8 shows a week.
I think it was Wonderland.
Land on tour.
I think. Well, I did the play after that. I did a play, but musicals wise, yeah, Wonderland was the last thing.
And do you think that it's because you've obviously got 2 young boys now, whether that's kind of informed? Because I spoke recently to Natasha Barnes about how she's now kind of more selective about what work she picks, and because it's got to be right, because it's a huge sacrifice to kind of give up motherhood every night of the week. Do you feel it's impacted your choices and how you've steered your career now?
Yes and no. I mean, pre-lockdown, I was so busy. Like, I was so busy as in, I'd just done my new album. I had lots of concerts booked in. I was going to Japan. I was touring, going to Belfast. I was touring the UK a little bit with my own show. And although I was away a lot, I wasn't away for long periods of time. So I was sporadically, you know, I would go off and do a couple of nights here, might go and do a week in Japan. And for me, that works really well, because I'm only away for short periods and then I can be home. If I was to do a show of 8 times a week, I mean, I'd have to leave home at 3-4 o'clock every day. Wednesday would be all day, Saturday would be gone. I would only get Sunday with my kids. So it does make me think about it. However, that sounds quite like I would be choosy, but I think a lot of it depends on what's about and what's kind of coming your way. Because I think if the right show came calling, I think I would really try and make it work. So I think it's more about circumstance rather than choice. But I was nice and busy, and I was quite grateful for that. But yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, if the right show came up, then absolutely. But it would have to be the right show. If I wouldn't just go and do anything because of the sacrifice that it is. And theatre is a sacrifice because it's hard work, but it's brilliant hard work. You know, it's an amazing job to do.
Do your kids have any interest in theatre? Do you think you might see them one day take it to the stage themselves? Possibly.
My youngest, possibly. I mean, he's about.
Would you encourage it?
Well, I wouldn't not encourage it. I mean, he goes to he's only 5, but he goes to Emil, which is a theatre school just around the corner from me. It's a brilliant college, and I've done a few little workshops there, and they have a kids club thing on a Sunday, which he goes to for a couple of hours, and he loves it. And he comes home singing, and he dances around the kitchen, and I love that it brings him so much joy. I don't know how I will continue with it, because I'm taking each day as it comes. Right. I guess, you know, we'll support them whatever they want to do. My other one loves his football and loves his sport, and we just, you know, I'm stood on the side of a football field most mornings with that one. So for me, it's about them being happy, and whatever they find joy in is what I'll support and what I'll, you know, encourage them to do.
And for you, when did it start? How old were you when you first kind of were interested in the arts? I know obviously you trained at Laine. Yeah, it was long before that. I mean, I just went locally. I'm doing a book at the moment, actually, and I talk about all this early stuff. Amazing.
Which has been really interesting and kind of almost cathartic to go over all this history and talk about it and, you know, enjoy everything that I've done over the years, because we're so quick to move on to the next thing. You don't stop and go, oh my goodness, I've done all these amazing things. But yeah, I did start quite early. I went to like a local dance school. Again, I think I just really enjoyed it. I just loved it. I loved everything about it. The community that it took me in, like-minded people, having the music on all the time, and being physical, I think, was huge for me, because my voice, I think, came a lot later, but it was all about the dancing and the physicality. And I loved sport at school. I liked being active. And I just loved, doing physical activity to music. I think that's what sparked it for me.
Yeah, because I was about to ask, so when did that distinctive Kerry Ellis growl come from? Like,
I don't really know. I think it was quite encouraged. It's probably Brian's fault. I mean, it was definitely encouraged in Rock You.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that. It has been embellished a little bit in No One But You over the years, and it definitely. I think it. I don't know if it came from there before, or whether I was playing with it before, but it's really funny. It's something I'm kind of not really. I'm aware of it now. I think probably because of Wicked, and everyone and people named it the growl, and I wasn't really aware of it before then. It was just something I kind of did sometimes, not always, but it would always get a good reaction. So I started to use it perhaps a little bit more, but it wasn't something that was kind of planned or manipulated. It was just something that happened, and I think it's just the rock chick in me, and it comes out sometimes if I'm really into something. It's funny. It's very funny.
And you mentioned Dr. Brian May there. So you back in the studio, was it last week, working on something?
Oh my God, yeah, we are.
How is he? Is he well?
He's all right. I mean, he had a bit of a wobble early on in lockdown, but he had some treatment. He had some heart treatment, and I think he's doing great. I mean, you got fair play to him. I mean, Brian's 70, and he's been running around the world his entire life. Lockdown has probably given him a chance to just stop and sit down and not have all those pressures on him, and not be pulled in a million directions. But yeah, he's great, and he completely shut down when we did lockdown. He literally didn't see a soul, because they were high risk, I guess. Him and Anita, they were probably quite high risk. So they really protected themselves. But now, obviously, things have been loosened slightly. We found a way to get back in the studio. We had our first week last week, and I'm seeing him tomorrow. Working on because before lockdown happened, we were about 2.5 songs into a new venture, a new album, if you like. So it was fun, and then obviously it stopped. So we're trying to pick that up now, which is exciting.
And is it right you're hoping for something to be released before Christmas?
Well, yes. So I did a song with some writers up in Manchester, Andy and John, who are brilliant writers. They do a lot of things for Eurovision and other people. They write for other people, and we've been working together for maybe, I don't know, a couple of years on and off, trying things out. And we had a Christmas song last year almost ready, but it didn't quite happen. It just didn't, wasn't meant to be, I don't think. So this year I thought, well, why not? Why don't we put it out? It just seems such a shame that we've got this great song that we're sitting on. Why don't we just put it out? So I think we might self-release it at Christmas. And so I took it to Brian to have a listen, mainly, and he loved it. He got really excited about it, and I was like, well, of course I'd love you to play on it, and he did, which is great. And he's kind of tweaking it a little bit as well, putting his little stamp on it as well. So hopefully it will be out for Christmas, and it's new. It's something new, which is really exciting. It's not a cover, it's new. And it's good. I think it's good. It's catchy.
And then also, so we've got to talk about your podcast, which you launched back in April, and it was 13 episodes. So
13 episodes.
Right through to July. Incredible guests. Like, was that fun to reconnect with all those people?
Oh my God. Well, the podcast has been a bit of a lifeline for me, if I'm honest. I'd done one back, for a few years ago called Acting Up with Jamie Crick, and I was just a featured guest presenter, if you like, and there was myself and Johnny Bunyan and Jamie Crick, and we would have various artists come in and talk, and it was great fun. And I thought to myself, I think I could do this on my own. I think I could have a little go at doing my own one. I'd love to, have my own show and have, just be in control of it all, basically.
Yeah.
So, it got put on the back burner, really, because as things do, and I was super busy. And then, obviously, lockdown, I had all this time, and I needed something to do that gave me purpose, because I was singing a bit in my living room, as everybody was. I was selling my albums, because obviously I'd done this, and then I was going to take them to live gigs. It wasn't online, my album. I had all these hard copies that I wanted to be able to sell at my gigs. And then lockdown happened, so I put my albums online and just kind of sent them out and became my own little production company, which was great, and that was keeping me going. But I needed something creative to do, so I thought, well, I'll speak to Martin, who's the producer of the show, and we'd spoke before about doing one, and again we kept chatting, but it kept getting put on the back burner. And I said, well, can we do it in some way? And he's like, yeah, we can do it over Zoom. People can do it from home, and if you've got a microphone, we can set it up, no problem. Yeah. So I messaged a load of people that I knew. I dropped Alfie Bow a line, and Bev and Denise and Kimberly, and all these lovely people that I've had worked with or crossed over at certain times, and said, look, I'm going to do this podcast from home. Will you come and be a guest? Can I chat to you? Because I want to talk about lockdown, and I want to talk about the other side of theatre that people don't see. I want to, just have a general chat. And we tried it, and season 1 came out, and everybody seemed to love it. And we've just finished season 2. We've just wrapped it, which is so exciting. The guests are amazing. And then we did a live season finale in London at a venue on Saturday, which will be, obviously it will be the live audio at the end of the season, but also there's going to be a visual of it, so you'll be able to stream it at some point, and the songs will be in the stream. So I had 3 guests, wicked special, 3 wicked guests, and they sang, and it was such a beautiful afternoon. We had a little live audience of about 25-30 people, and it was just joyous. It was so lovely, and I'm kind of still a little bit pinching myself that with season 2 in, because it was a little venture I went on. I didn't know how successful it would be. I didn't know if people would want to listen, and we've had really good responses, and people have loved it. So season 2 is done, and little exclusive, but I think it's coming out. My first was coming out on Wednesday. Yay!
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So excited.
And Alexa, you've not stopped, have you? And we can talk about Fosse Ballet.
Oh, I know, that's a tongue twister, isn't it? The Fosse Forest Ballet. Fosse Forest Ballet. Say that to
I'm glad you're struggling with it as well.
Oh my God, I'm glad I didn't have to say it.
This is a great challenge. I mean, were you familiar with Phil Joel's incredible videos that he was putting out during lockdown? How did you get involved in this whole thing?
Well, I got tagged in some tweet, and I'm not really a big Twitter. I don't really use Twitter much anymore, but I got tagged in this thing, and people were tagging me, like retweeting it. So I had a look, but didn't really get the what it was. I mean, I just saw his little skit, saying something about I'd love to have Kerry Ellis or something or other, and it made me giggle. Anyway, it went away, and I didn't really think about it. And then Racky Plews, who is a brilliant director, dropped me a message on, I can't remember if it was on Instagram, and said, I'm doing this thing over Zoom. I'm doing this little thing for charity. It's a little kind of episode or a pilot for an episode. Yeah. Will you do it? We just want to call you over Zoom and chat and blah. I was like, yeah, no problem. So we did it, and it's really fun. I do hardly anything in it, but the concept of it is fantastic. And again, it's for a great cause, and they're going to raise a bit of money for, they already have raised some money for charity. And yeah,
they're aiming to raise, I think it's £10,000 for Theatre Trust and Acting for Others.
That's it. And I think they've done pretty well already. So yeah, it was nice thing to do. And again, just to be creative. I mean, I play myself, so I don't really do anything, but it was just nice to do something that was just out of the norm and creative. So yeah, that was fun. I don't know when it's coming out. I guess it's soon because they've started to put some promo out about it.
I think, yeah, they've started to edit it down. And like I say, it's a pilot, so hopefully if it does go well, they'll be able to extend it into a full series.
Yeah, so who knows? I mean, we don't know. The problem is things are changing all the time, so we just don't know. And I think that's what the difficulty with the theatres, they can't plan, and you can't just chuck on a big show with no notice. You know, you need notice to rehearse it, to audition it, to direct it, to put it on, to sell it. You know, there's so much involved that it's really tricky, and we can't have capacity at the moment, so it's hard. I mean, it's nice to see they did Songs of a New World last night at a socially distanced audience, and that was great. It's great that things are happening. I hope we can, you know, move on and get further on. I feel like we're, you know, a bit stagnant at the moment.
Yeah, and they did announce that Les Mis is coming back for the Christmas run.
Did they? I didn't see that. Oh, that's good.
On Britain's Got Talent, they presented a little special finale.
Yeah, I saw that was going to happen. I mean, I didn't see. I saw that they were all in it. Oh, amazing!
It's on sale now. It's available. They're doing the stage concert version that they did before.
Yeah, to a socially distanced audience.
Yeah, it will be. So it'll be at the Sondheim Theatre. So it'll be down the road from where it was. But yeah, hopefully it'll be.
That's good.
The Palladium Panto's coming back. So.
I saw about that. I saw that. Well, that's good. You know, they're all trying, which is great.
Yeah, exactly. Have you been to see much while you've been during lockdown? Do you get to see much theatre? Not
really. I mean, I did the drive-in, so that when we first opened up, I went and did that, which was kind of the first time that things were even being done, which was interesting. But yeah, I haven't been to see anything yet because obviously last I was doing my podcast finale when Songs of a New World was happening, so I couldn't do that. But I will try and support something. It's very difficult with the kids, and because I'm doing various bits of jobs, like with Proud, obviously, you don't want to try your luck too much either. You know, with Proud, I'm with a lot of people. You know, again, it's all very, it conforms. It does all the things that it should do. But when you're going in and out of London, and you know, you just start thinking, well, I shouldn't rock the boat too much just yet.
No. Okay. And I wanted to ask, so with regards to your future, you've always kind of touched on it. You just see things when they align. But is there anything that you aspire to, or any roles that you or a path that you certainly want your career to take in the future?
Yeah, well, I think what I like is variety. I love that I can be in a studio one day, I can be on a stage the next, I can be, you know, recording a podcast the next day, writing my book. That, you know, I love that it's always different outlets. That's what keeps me going. I enjoy that I'm never doing exactly the same thing every day. But I think I've never done much. I haven't done much telly. I wouldn't mind having a go at a little bit more telly, just because I haven't done a lot of it. So that might be a nice little new avenue to go down. And yeah, new things are exciting for me. New musicals. I love doing workshops where I'm just working on new material for a week with the artists and the writers and the directors. I like that because it's quick, it's creative, and you're there at source, which I quite like. And obviously music feeds me, so I will continue to do my music. Who knows? Brian and I may go out again on tour one day. Who knows? I'm not that busy.
Are there any songs that you, dare I say, get tired of singing, or a bit like, here we go again?
Well, for me, Gravity for me has to be, I won't just get up, like they wanted me to sing Gravity at Proud, and for me it has, because I love it so much, and I think that I had such an amazing time with the show, and I've sung it so much since, that for me now, it has to be in the right environment. So if I'm going to sing it at the Albert Hall with the orchestra, yes, I'm going to do it. If I'm going to sing it I do a lot of gigs for Raymond Gubby with his big orchestra in all the big stages, yes, I'm going to do it. It depends on the environment when I'm going to do that, because I think the song dictates the situation. I think that it has to be of a level that's fantastic, or else I don't do it, you know. And because I just think that if people see it in a underwhelming performance or environment, it just doesn't have the same effect, and I would just rather sing something else. But no, I definitely don't get tired of it. I could find it difficult at times because it's a hard song, but I definitely don't get tired. I don't get tired of singing I Dreamed a Dream, Memory, you know, those classics that have been sung, you know, to death. I don't get tired of them, and I think that's because they're brilliant songs. Yeah. I don't get tired of singing any of the Queen stuff, you know, it's great. And if you're doing a concert, you get to put all the good songs together, so that's quite nice as well. I'm not singing them every day.
This might have come up when you've been writing your book, but are there any moments that you're most proud of out of your, because I mean, you've got such an extensive career. Are there any key moments where you just think, yeah, that one?
Yeah, there are so many. The Festival of Remembrance has to be pretty big. I did that with Brian. I think it was in 2010 or 2011. And that was pretty special, just because of the sense of occasion, and it was just magical. It really was. I mean, anytime I get to perform at the Albert Hall is brilliant. But there's so many. But being on Broadway for the first time, being in the West End for the first time, releasing my own album, you know, being signed to a record label. There's so many moments, which is why the book has been inspired, I think, because there's so many great things to talk about. I also wanted to write it before I, not forget them, but before I lose track of what I've done. Yeah, there's just so many, and I'm so grateful that there has been so many.
And have you got a title for the book yet? Have you worked something out?
We've got lots. We've got a lot. We've got a lot. And there's a list. There's a long list.
Well, I love the title for your podcast, Keep Calm and Carry On.
It's good, isn't it? It's really good, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's also everything that we need to do right now, you know, because there's a lot of uncertainty, especially in the theatre industry and in the performance industry. There is a lot of uncertainty, and what we do need to do is just take a minute and keep calm and carry on. You know, it will come back. We will be okay. People are starting to make steps to get back out there, and I think that we will get there. And of course, if there does become a vaccine, then we're all, you know, we're game on.
Yeah, exactly. And you're a huge advocate for mental health, and I know you've done a lot of work raising awareness for that. But how's it for you and your family, your children? Like, how was it having the kids at home? Was it?
Yeah, well, thank you for starters. I mean, I feel very fortunate to have the support that I have. You know, I have great family. I have parents, in-laws, friends, obviously my husband and my kids, and I'm lucky to be surrounded by good people. And I think that's a lot to do with mental health. You know, I think if you have a support network, it just helps. You know, it helps you when you have those days and it's hard, you know, or you have a dark day, having that support around you to pick you up is brilliant. And so I do, wherever I can, I reach out and help. You know, if people want me to do something, of course I will help, because I think it's a really tough thing, and I'm nervous of what will happen coming out of lockdown. I think that it's going to be a world of mental health issues, because I think what our industry does is give people escapism. It gives all those people that don't fit into sports or academics or whatever it is, you know, they find theatre, because theatre is their thing, and that's not happening at the moment. And then for people of every day, you know, they find that escapism in theatre or in performance, and it's not being harnessed at the moment. So I think coming out of this, there's going to be so many people that are going to struggle, probably that are struggling right now, and also the people in the industry are probably really struggling. On a personal note, I was okay to start with because I still, you know, things were in my diary, and then obviously they started to be taken out or postponed, and Japan was a big one for me. I was meant to be going to Japan in August, and a few gigs got taken away beforehand, and I was like, well, I'm still going to Japan, that's fine. And then Japan was a big job, and then when that went or got postponed, it wasn't that day, it was a few days after that. I remember I was stood in the kitchen and I was doing something very mundane, like washing up the cups or whatever it was, and I just burst into tears, which is so unlike me. I'm very level-headed. I very rarely cry at home. You know, I just don't get emotional like that. And I just sobbed, and my husband was like, hang on a minute, what's happened? And I was just like, I'm just so sad. One, because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how long it's for. And all those things that I can control normally I can create a gig, I can look for a new job, or there's opportunity, had suddenly been taken away. And I think it was fear of what's going to happen for me, and is that it? Is my what I've spent the last 40 years creating just done? What's going to happen? So I did have a moment. And I think that took a little week or so, but then I did find my way, and I think it's why I then put all my efforts into my podcast and just started channeling that energy to try and give myself focus and purpose. So, you know, for me on that level, I think, well, if that's affected me, you know, who does have all that support, who is very optimistic, you know, cup half full person always, for that to have hit me, then I dread to think if somebody's already struggling, how it's hitting other people. It makes me a little bit anxious, and I think, oh, we could be coming up to a bit of a time of it.
Amazing. Well, I shall let you get on and carry on signing those albums. Where are they available then? Are they on your website?
Just on my website, just on kerryellis.com. I might put them on when I finally get rid of all the ones I have in my house. I might put it on iTunes, but until they're gone, I'm just going to sit, and I quite enjoy sitting from my house and, you know, writing a little note on them and sending them out. It's quite nice, and it feels like it's a bit more personal than it just being sent out from a record label. So I'm quite enjoying that. It's nice.
And are they sending out worldwide?
They are. Look at this. I even have these. This will make you chuckle. Look, I even have my overseas little stamps. Look.
Amazing.
Very organised. It's very funny. I've had, yeah, it's been lovely actually. It's been nice. My husband just keeps moaning because obviously I get these deliveries from Amazon that are like big boxes of envelopes and stuff, and he's every 5 minutes there's envelopes or stamps or something coming through the door. He's like, stop ordering things. So I've got to send my album out.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest. Like I say, we don't know what's around the corner, but just keep smashing it and enjoying the show on Fridays.
Thank you. It was lovely to see you, and thank you for coming to support us. It was lovely. Really nice.
No problem. Thank you.
We'll see you soon on the other side. Yay!
It's a strange time, and theatre's been hit hard. But you are here, and we are live. So please tell